I think, look, it's really, really clear to understand that the West Bank is under a legal occupation and under international law, Palestinians as well as other people under occupying forces have the legal right to armed resistance. That is enshrined in law. And so when you're looking at a place like the West Bank that houses 3 million Palestinians, and a lot of people are resisting, naturally so. Of course. I mean, that's going to be an inevitability. You're going to resist if you're denied basic human rights, denied clean water, denied mobility. I mean, when you're living under this harsh repression where you can't even celebrate, the hostages coming home, you can't grieve, you can't publicly mourn, you can't erect a flag. I mean, it's absolutely insane what these people are subjected to on a day-to-day basis. And given the genocide that we've seen erupt in Gaza, the unending slaughter of children, I mean, obviously Palestinians are a united front despite the political schisms and divisions. And so you're going to see resistance in the West Bank, especially when you see full scale mobilizations to invade and annex your land illegally. And so it's actually a legal right to see resistance mobilized against Israeli invaders. So, first and foremost, we need to zoom out and realize not only is this an egregious and flagrant violation of just the ceasefire, the idea of a ceasefire, that Israel considers a ceasefire just no one reacting to them constantly violating the ceasefire, whether it be in Lebanon or Gaza or in the West Bank, right? They can just go on and do whatever they want with complete impunity. And the second that a Palestinian fights back, oh, they've broken the ceasefire. Oh, the deal's off the table. It is so disgustingly one-sided. But when you zoom out from that, I mean, yeah, Palestinians have the right to resist. So what you're seeing in refugee camps, what you're seeing in places like Jenin is resistance, legal resistance, actually. So when Israel uses that as a precursor to then further colonize, it's just absolutely dumbfounding because it's just completely violating every single law in the books. And this is what they've done for decades. And they're ramping it up under the cover of the ceasefire, of the genocide, saying that Hamas fighters are on the ground. Oh, well, they did this. So, of course, we need to go and eject thousands of people from their homes, say that they can never return. And it's gaslighting upon gaslighting, but it's also just a refusal of just basic reality and the facts that we know to be true, Max. When you apply that to the United States, it's just such a double-sided, I mean, just a completely absurd notion that we're a culture of violence, we worship war. I mean, militarism and war is so ingrained in the psyche of American citizens, especially in the wake of 9/11. It's just a constant thing. But it's only the good arbiters of violence, right? I mean, of course, the U.S. military can do whatever it wants around the world as long as it's doing it in the name of democracy and human rights. If Ukrainians resist against evil Russia, give them all the weapons in the world, turn it into a proxy war where we're throwing Ukrainians into just making them cannon fodder. I mean, it's absolutely insane. But when you're looking at just the basic tenets of what would you do if someone came to your home and said, "Get out. This is my home now because the Bible says that it is from thousands of years ago. Get the hell out," at the barrel of a gun. What would you do? What would your family do? Obviously, you would band together and resist like anyone would, especially Americans. I mean, we're talking about a country that has stand your ground laws that if you just go up and knock on the wrong door, you could get shot and killed legally. So it is just the paradoxical nature of propaganda. It does not make sense and it does not equate. And it's only because of the deep, deep embedded dehumanization of Arabs and specifically Palestinians. And this has been part and parcel with the war on terror propaganda, the deep dehumanization of just Arabs and Muslims in general. And Palestinians are just, I mean, it's absolutely absurd how much they've been dehumanized, where people, even my fellow colleagues as journalists, don't even consider Palestinian journalists. So it's a disgrace upon disgrace. But I think what Mohammed's talking about is so many salient points there of just the utter hypocrisy of the way that we perceive violence. And when it comes to actual decolonization and liberation, which are concepts that make liberals feel uncomfortable, they'd rather keep Palestinians in a perpetual victimhood and treat them as if they just need aid instead of need freedom. Because when you talk about what that actually means, it means fighting back. It means resisting this unending violence and slaughter. What do these people think it means? So what does that actually look like? How does that play out? And how is it successful? And that's why history is so sanitized and these things are just, rewritten by the victors because they don't want to teach us the hard lessons of how entire countries and peoples have been victorious and have been liberated from empires and from their colonizers in the past.